week on from gifting Shrewsbury their first win at home since the turn of the century, United are back at the Abbey to face a Bromley side in a Football League match for the first time ever. Welcome to the preview show. Happy Friday, of course, everyone. And we've got a bit of a treat of a lineup for today's preview. Not one, but two panellists. Aren't you lucky? Let's get the boring one out of the way. Jack Swindlehurst, how are you, mate?
Yeah, all good, thank you. It's one of your kinder introductions, if I'm honest.
Exactly, yeah. You'll probably say that. Secondly, a returning podcast, but maybe 6 years on, I was trying to think, or 7 even. Someone who came on back in our third or fourth ever show. It's friend of the pod, Josh Parker. How are you, mate?
Hello, yeah, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, really good. See, look, that's already better. No one ever asked me back how I am when I do this. A bit of respect, a bit of manners. Josh, I was trying to think about the last time you came on this pod, which I think was 2018, maybe. And I think it was us three and Tom, and we'd played, you're going to have to stop me when I'm wrong, but I think it was Cheltenham or Exeter. It was one of those two at home. And then we'd had a bit of a skinful that day, and we went to Cambridge 105 to record the podcast, and the edit job was tricky.
Yeah, I think I can just remember. I mean, it was like, yeah, I remember we turned up at the studio loaded with cans, didn't we?
Yeah, exactly.
So whoever's job it was to edit out the every 5-10 minutes, did an amazing job. I think that was at the start of a very poor season, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was like that really long. Was it that season where I remember going to Yeovil at home on a Tuesday after that pod, I think, thinking, surely tonight that we win. And it wasn't.
Yeah. Well, I remember, I'm pretty sure that was the season where we started the season with like Core, Aziz and Ibire as our front three. And I'm pretty sure that pod was when you whipped out the line, Ibire looks like a turtle running through peanut butter.
yeah.
Which I'm not sure why we didn't get you on again with gold like that.
Do you know what as well? That's a surprisingly coherent sentence to make after however many we'd had.
I thought it was custard. I was sure it was custard
Maybe
because I was going to bring that up as well. That's an all-time favourite of mine.
Yeah. Good one, isn't it?
That's up there with Jack's pickled onions from the quiz a few years ago.
You know in the Alma, like the pub the Alma, when they've got all those quotes written up on the wall.
Yeah. We should do you.
I'd quite like to put that one forward. Yeah.
But obviously we're a very professional outfit now, as you can see. And if you want to help us be a more professional outfit, you can obviously join the Coconut tier for £5 a month, where you get loads of written content. We've been a bit slow on the pods recently, but we've actually got a few things lined up. And more importantly, you can take part in our competition if you're in the Coconut tier. Make sure you signed up before the end of October, and you'll be in with a chance to win 2 hospitality tickets for Grimsby at home on the 4th of January. We'll draw the lucky winners in November. I'm saying lucky winners with a bit of a smile on my face because judging by last week's performance, it might be more of a chore than a treat. But just make sure you sign up to the Coconut tier, and we'll draw them live on a pod in November at random. Speaking of last week, Josh, we're going to start with you. The first thing you get to say on this pod, aside from a little catch up, is talking about the Shrewsbury game, because me and Swindle didn't actually watch it. Now the dust has settled, maybe it's worth just a little look back at it. I mean, no one wants to linger on it too much, but Shrewsbury, Harris said Shrewsbury didn't have to do much to win the game. What do you make to that as a quote?
I think he's spot on, to be totally honest. It was just so abject. I mean, there was no, and I have to say, this is probably the first time this season that, like post match, that I felt this. There wasn't even like a 10-minute spell where you thought that we were going to maybe create a half chance. It was just so turgid to watch. I mean, Corey Smith from the beginning, at fault. I don't really like putting blame on individual players, but from that episode, from that one goal, that one mistake, it just sort of, that seemed to epitomise the whole game before it even really kicked off, to be honest. But yeah, I'm happy enough to write it down as a blip. I think I've seen enough for the rest of the season so far to think that we'll still be all right. I'm still a good outfit.
But it's one of them things when you think where, like, you think it's a blip and you think, yeah, fine, okay, it's one performance, we'll write it down as that and we'll move on. But I just look at those second half numbers, and I put this in the newsletter, which just went out from the website, which again, sign up at undertheabbeystand.com. In the second half, our stats, and the lads covered this on the review show, but just to go over like the second half stats: 2 shots, 0 on target, 0 shots inside the box, 2 corners, and an XG of 0.07. Which we were like praising ourselves for holding Tranmere to an XG of only 0.07 a couple of weeks before in another turgid performance, but that at least, we managed to be tight at one end of the pitch. To not offer anything at 2-0 down against 23rd in the league in the second half, it does worry me. Like, I believe that you shouldn't reassess everything on one performance, but there is a sign there that to not even have a spell, like you said, against a side like that it did worry me ever so slightly more than just losing 2-0 to 23rd, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I would agree, and you don't want to be too like hyperbolic over one game, obviously, but and Harris mentioned it post match and in his presser as well, pre Bromley. 10 players had an off day, and I think
he was the one that didn't.
Exactly. So I just think. I think he's right to say that, and I think that's a fair evaluation of the game. I just hope it does serve the players as a bit of a reminder that you all have to be at it. So it's okay if 1 or 2 aren't at it, but actually, that's a tricky mindset to be in when Saturday could happen again. You know?
I think the thing is, for me, like, it always feels like we're constantly bouncing back from something. I mean, Swindle, like Harris called it a reality check. But does like this lack of consistency like really worry you? Like, I'll read you our league form, right? When you read it, maybe written down, it actually like it's more impactful. But like win, loss, draw, win, loss, win, loss, draw, win, loss. We've not had back-to-back results of any sort this campaign so far.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's kind of like it's been up and down, as you say, and that's reflected in the form. I think we've said it a million times already. It's going to be a very long season, and it's one of those where if you string a few results together, you can suddenly be right up there. I don't think we should be of the mindset that we're going to come in here and walk it, or even it be a straightforward trip towards the playoffs or whatever. I think it is going to be some of that, and I think there's a massive mid-table in this league, and I think we've laid down and let Shrewsbury do what they want, really. But I think there's going to be quite a few times that the teams that we encounter, that it's just kind of turgid. We've used the word turgid at the start of this season, I think more than we have done in the past 7 years of podcasting, and it is going to be like that. You drop down to League Two, in League One we've been treated to seeing some teams play real football, not Cambridge United mainly, but other teams, and it is a case of kind of riding the wave. I think it's a bit deflating. We had a couple of weeks ago, you, Tom Walker, and I podded, and Tom was kind of singing up our chances of automatic promotion. I think we can be quite, not that I'm not calling Tom Walker fickle, but I think it's going to be a long old season, and I think we're going to have to endure games like that, and there'll be results like that. But I think it is about the bounce back, isn't it? There's a huge opportunity, a 12:30 kickoff against Bromley on Saturday to right those wrongs. And we've spoken about momentum, and really we haven't picked up enough momentum or any this season yet. But you have to start it with a game, and it's about a response from that game, because the performance was abject, and I think turgid is a compliment, really.
Yeah, I mean, that really was basement stuff, wasn't it, on Saturday? Look, we've got a packed show, so I think we should move on, and no one really wants to linger on that Shrewsbury defeat, and it's more about the bounce back itself. Let's chat about Bromley in a second. At the end of the show, I should have mentioned that you stick around, because Josh is going to tell us a little bit about the work he does for Romsey Mill and then becoming United's new charity partner. So we'll do that at the end of the show. Let's start the Bromley preview section by getting a little preview with Holly.
Right then, news fans. I'm joined by Holly Norris, who's the supporters club coach organizer from Bromley FC. Holly, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. An interesting start to the season for Bromley. Sees Bromley sitting in 10th, just above Cambridge United. How has the start of the season been for you?
A little bit of a roller coaster, if I'm honest. Probably not the start of the season we would all have liked. I know the Crew result on Saturday was a nice win for everyone. And I think we've picked up a few injuries, but overall, second season in League Two, I don't think we should be too pessimistic at the moment.
Absolutely, yeah. So you talked about that game against Crew, a 1-0 victory at Crew. Micheal Cheek with a goal. Talk us through how that game was.
I must admit, it was a result I probably wouldn't have predicted. Given the way that the other results have gone, I did think it would be a draw or a loss. So very happy with the result. And obviously it would be Micheal Cheek to score if anyone did. So
Yeah, good stuff. Thinking about your season as a whole then, and you spoke about the kind of second season in League Two, what would be your realistic aims for Bromley for the end of the season?
ideally, if I could finish exactly where we are now, I would be happy. I don't think we'll go down, and I would like to say we could sit mid to top table. Obviously optimistic, I would aim for playoff places, but I think 10th would be quite nice. Higher than we finished last season, nice and comfortable. Gives us something to go into the summer on. So
Yeah, 100%. And I can see from your game so far this season, there's been quite a few draws. Is that a bit of a theme with this Bromley team?
unfortunately it is. We do seem to draw quite often. And if you look at the timings, normally the the goal is in the last couple of minutes that we end up conceding to get the draw. In particular, the Gillingham game at home. I remember last season we had quite a few of them. We'd go from 3-0 up to drawing 3-all. So
Yeah, Cambridge United fans know that kind of feeling. So yeah, you're not alone on that. So if we look at then some of your squad players, then which are a few players that maybe Cambridge United could look out for?
Micheal Cheek, don't really need to say any more about him. My absolute favourite, Ben Thompson. He's a great player. Nicky Kabamba would be another one. We have quite a good squad at the moment. We have sort of 11 solid players on the pitch. We have good players that come off the bench. Jude Arthurs never has a bad game. He's always a consistent player. So yeah, I think the squad at the minute, I think 10th is a very good way to finish the season. Got to remain hopeful that we stay there.
Yeah, seems pretty similar to being a Cambridge United fan, to be honest. I can sympathise with that. And yeah, just before we go, then, what do you reckon the score is going to be on Saturday between Bromley and Cambridge?
So a member, a fan of Bromley, does a score prediction on social media every week, and I have never strayed from my 2-1 win. Given that we are just above and below each other in the table, I would settle for at least 2-2, but I'm going to say 2-1.
And I guess Micheal Cheek will be scoring, will he?
Well, be hard to find a game that he doesn't. I'm going to go one further and say Ben Thompson to score. Ben Thompson and Micheal Cheek.
I like the confidence. Brilliant. Holly, thank you for joining us. That's fantastic.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks very much, Holly. Thanks, Swindle. Swindle, what sort of mood did you sense from her? Do you sense a sort of upbeat about the season in general?
Yeah, I think it's been a bit. She used the word roller coaster, and I think it has been that. It's been really up and down for them, and I think they've already experienced quite a lot of late heartbreaking games this year. They've been pegged back for draws where they should have won games. So I think, they're kind of cementing themselves as a League Two side now after getting promoted a couple of seasons ago. Holly sounded like she was kind of optimistically looking for the bottom of the playoffs or a solid mid-table finish. So I think they look at where they are in the table and 6 draws already this season. I think they're going to be quite a tough team to break down, but I think they're kind of still finding their feet, and I don't want to say happy to be there because it sounds a little bit patronizing, but I think they are kind of just cementing themselves as a football league side and are happy doing that, and but they fancy it every game to go into it, so it'll be interesting to see kind of what challenge they present.
So quite a hard one to preview this, isn't it? Because I've never ever watched Bromley play in my life, and because they're so new to the Football League, we've only got that one game, if either of you remember it, in the Virtu Pizza Cup, the 3-3 draw at their place when Jack Stevens let the ball go for his legs in the last minute, and I think then they beat us on pens, and I'm pretty sure that's the only time we've ever played each other. So it's quite a weird one. Normally we've got like so much to go off, or a little bit more to go off when we're playing teams, and this is a different situation. But from what I gather, they are a pretty decent side. Their win last Saturday was, well, I mean, having said that, their win last Saturday was the first since the end of August, but then they've also only lost 2 games all season. Another stat that's gone in the newsletter this week, Micheal Cheek, who is this like legendary striker that for some reason still plays for Bromley. He's played 282 games for them. He scored 124 goals. Since the start of 24-25, he's scored 31 league goals, which is the most in the top 4 divisions. It's quite a remarkable record, isn't it, Josh? What sort of reaction are you expecting from United after Shrewsbury? But also, how do you expect us to actually approach it?
I think, well, Harris mentioned in his press, didn't he, about sort of trying to, move back to starting games really quick and on the front foot. I think after Saturday, it's really important to back up that game with just coming out of the blocks and absolutely going for it. We haven't seen it all season, really, have we? We haven't really seen a game where we've gone absolutely at it. And I think there needs to be a massive element of that this Saturday, just to try and, just go out and prove to people. I mean, there's so many players creatively, like at the top end of the pitch, that we've not really seen much of. So like Ben Knight, for example, clearly a quality player. Just go out and do it. Glenn McConnell, I was a bit disappointed with Glenn McConnell on Saturday, or for him, I should say, because, they've got it. They've got the attributes and the quality to do it. So I just hope we kind of see that really a bit more on Saturday. I think Harris knows what he wants to see. And I do trust him in setting the team up, and I think that we will be able to bounce back if people are at it. But yeah, I just hope we start seeing players sort of take the game by the scruff of the neck a bit more. Players like Mpanzu, these are clearly quality players. Just go out and show it, really, is what I think they need to do on Saturday a little bit more.
It's also fun, isn't it? We come off the back of like playing a run of 3 league games, which is Shrewsbury away, Crawley at home, Tranmere away, which is like the 3 teams that make up the bottom 6 of the division. We only come out of it 4 points, by the way, which is like not ideal, but anyway, forget about that. But then you come to face a Bromley team. Do you think there's anything, Josh, in like the kind of mentality? I think this is probably something that's more apparent in the fan base than it would be in the team. But the mentality of playing a team like Bromley, who you're kind of not scared of the name Bromley because in your mind they're like a bit of a, like a small team, in the same way that you play a team like Harrogate and you don't expect them to pose a threat, but Bromley are actually a much better side. And do you think we've got to get the mentality right going into this, that you've got to respect them? Because I mean, they're a place above us in the league, and I just went through, they've only lost twice this season and actually should have had a better record than that. So yeah, I don't know, do you think there's anything in just making sure you get the mentality right going into a game like this?
Yeah, to be honest, I think there needs to be there should have been a mentality set in place at the start of the season, really. There's no easy games in League Two. Like, it's such a random league that you have to be absolutely on it every game. And if you're not, teams like Bromley will come and will come and do you over. But I mean, Bromley are up there on merit. I think each season they've been up, they've not actually been in a relegation fight.
No, I don't think so. No,
which to me is, so if you're a stable League Two club, that to me suggests you've got more than enough now, some more than enough quality and know-how to pose a serious threat to anybody. They seem like a really well-run club, which I think always helps in the lower leagues, similar to Harrogate, really.
Yeah.
And they've got a talisman in Micheal Cheek, who just seems to pop up on the Soccer Saturday video printer every week. So I think you've got to be really, really wary of it. And I just think, the mindset, my opinion is that it shouldn't need changing because it should have been there from the start of the season anyway, frankly.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true. So the injury update from the presser is McLaughlin's out for a couple of months. How big an impact do you think that's going to be, Swindle? I know he's not necessarily been starting every game, but it was the 90 minutes against Crawley that he actually did it in. A performance where I think everyone is fairly agreed that he played pretty well in, and might have actually got the opportunity because of Ball's injury to sort of stake his place in the side, and now that's kind of been cut short for a couple of months. Do you think that's going to have a big impact on us?
It's a shame, really, isn't it? Because I think there's quite a lot of fans on his side and really wanting him to do well. And you referenced that Crawley game and influencing games, and even being that type of player to come off the bench and kind of manage a game or change a game. So I think that's a big miss. We've seen George Hoddle be recalled, and I think that's for some for some more backup. But we're once again lauding early season injuries, but we kind of have to look past that. As much as McLaughlin has been a good kind of addition and has certainly contributed, we kind of need to, think of him as something we just can't factor in, and that's the case. So yeah, we have to kind of find that working system in the middle and the winning system, and we're still struggling to find that. There's been every player in that area of the pitch has come under some form of criticism this season, and will continue to do so until we kind of manage games better. And I think McLaughlin, for all of his the good stuff he's done this season, will be a big miss. And I think there's going to be a few people who will still be jumping on that bandwagon. The same players are getting dug out each week. Rightfully so, it's certainly in some respect, and it's about taking ownership of that position on the pitch now. I think having Corey Smith back is a good thing, but it's someone who's been out of the game for a long time, and we've spoken about Pelly not having a pre-season and all of that. So there's plenty of people who need to come back in and really kind of own this team a little bit, because it's such an important part of the pitch, and we've gone missing a few times this season.
Yeah, the combination there is interesting. We've recalled Hoddle, and Ball is available this weekend. So, how would you expect us to line up, Parker? Well, hang on, let me phrase that again. How would you want us to line up, first of all, and then how do you expect Harris to line up on Saturday?
It's a really good question. I would like to see Bradshaw keep his place at left back.
Yeah.
And I don't think I would change the starting back four, actually, or back five, including Eastwood. And then I think the midfield too. To be honest, seeing Smith and Mpanzu on Saturday, I would love to see Hoddle just thrown in, which I don't think will happen. But just so I think it will be Smith and Mpanzu, Brophy on the left. Again, I'd like to see McConnell start in the 10 role. I think that's quite an exciting prospect. And then Kaiko on the right. I think 4-2-3-1. I think he'll depart from the two up top, try and be a bit more solid and sort of revert back to what was a little bit more effective. So maybe Kwasi up top with Lavery coming on off the bench.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll change. It's weird, isn't it? I don't think he'll change too much, because I think he'll want them to go out and prove that Shrewsbury was a bit of a blip.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, there's you've got to be conscious that you can't put in that performance again. Like that was really mediocre. So yeah, we'll wait and see. But I can't see too much change, if I'm honest.
Yeah, because I guess the three sort of areas that you might change are kind of some you've identified there, like centre mids, Kai potentially, and do you stick with two up top? Swindle, what would you do for those three sort of areas?
It's an interesting one. I think there's a kind of line of thinking where you actually go for the same team that played against Shrewsbury, give them a chance to right those wrongs. We saw how well that setup went against Crawley at home. And I think we should be looking at this Bromley game. I think Josh said it earlier. We should be looking at this as a game to win, and we should be trying to win it comfortably. I know they're above us in the table, and they're becoming an experienced League Two side. But if we're looking at aspirations of playoffs or beyond, we should be looking at home games like this and going for it. I think, and I think it worked. We managed the game well against Crawley, and I think we should be going for this game against Bromley in the same manner. And yeah, I wouldn't hate seeing two up top. I just love 4-4-2. So go with that. But no, I'm not a football manager. Don't know if you knew that. But I think Neil Harris is quite a brave and aggressive guy in the footballing terms, and I think maybe if he said to this team, put a rocket up them and said, this is your chance to prove it, and then if not, then you can sling it. It's an interesting one, but I would personally like to see that, because I think home game is going to be our bread and butter and where we get a majority of our points this season.
Well, they're going to have to be. I was just looking at the home and away tables, actually, and our home form is really good. League form, played 6, won 4, drawn 1, lost 1. Our away form, we're 19th in the away table. So the problems are pretty obvious in terms of what we really need to fix. But I guess if that's what your away form is, then you've got to make sure that you are winning these games at home, like you just said, Jack.
Isn't there some ridiculous, our fixture lists, our home games, there's barely any 3 p.m. Saturday home games before the new year, is that right?
Yeah, basically it's Barnet and Crewe, I think, is that it?
Yeah. So that puts even more pressure on your home games, really, doesn't it? Because you've not got many before the turn of the year. Also, you've got the cup game with Chester, but you've kind of got to make the most of them. I think in terms of keeping the fans on side with this new rebuild. Actually,
Yeah, and also, I mean, not to get into the wider chat, but we have played all of the bottom four now, and then plus Tranmere in 19th, Harrogate in 17th. So there's only 2 out of the bottom 8 that we haven't played. So we've had pretty kind start to the season in general, in terms of fixture lists at least. And I guess the jury's out on if we've made the most of that. Predictions for Saturday, Parker?
I'm always buoyant about being at the Abbey. I would say, obviously, Cheek's going to score, like you just know it, don't you? So I'm probably going to say 2-1. I think it'll be a scrappy 2-1 win.
Yeah, I like that. Swindle.
That's annoying because now it looks like I'm just copying Josh.
Yeah, but I had 2-1 as well.
I was going to go 2-1 Micheal Cheek to score. So yeah, I can't really disagree with much that Josh said there. I think it will be scrappy, and I think there'll be those Abbey nerves, when we get to a game and we've got a lead, and then the team start pumping us near the end, and I think it will be tight, but I think we'll get over the line. So yeah, 2-1.
Do you know the other player they've got that I think is worth looking out for is that centre back Omar Shawumni?
Yeah,
the guy, he's about like 8'7". He used to play for Sutton. He's huge, and if we defend set pieces like we did last weekend, he will be a problem. Okay, I think that's enough football. I think let's get on to why we've got you on the podcast, Josh, which is stuff that's a bit more important than just a 3 p.m. on a Saturday. Do you want to start by just like giving us a bit of an intro in terms of who you are for any listeners who don't know you? Obviously we do, but anyone who doesn't know who you are and what you do for Romsey Mill.
Yeah, so I'm sort of on tonight with work hat on. I'm part of the fundraising team at Romsey Mill, which is a charity based down Mill Road in Cambridge, obviously, and we support over 2,000 young people and families in the Cambridge area every year, really, as they overcome hardship and challenge, and we're alongside them. I suppose there's sort of 3 strands or 3 programs to our work. The first one, and probably the biggest, is our youth development, which sees youth workers out in the community. We running open access youth clubs, doing some one-to-one stuff, some alternative education. The second program is Aspire, called Aspire, which supports young people with autism, and there's also a young parents program as well. Sort of helping young parents with the early stages of pregnancy and sort of how they can balance the physical and mental challenges of that, as well as sort of running a household and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, really, really crucial work. There's not much youth work that goes on in and around Cambridge, and so it's really, we're, without being big-headed, we're kind of an unofficial emergency service is kind of what I think. But.
Right, yeah. How tell us about becoming United's charity partner for the season.
First of all, just wow. I think they announced they were looking for a new charity partner in May or June of earlier this year, and I was just on the bus home, and I just tapped it in. Just went, we'll just do that. Threw some spiel in there. Asked a few mates, including yourselves, I think, to nominate us, and then got the magic email to say that we'd been chosen, and sort of what that entails. So I'll just run through what we get really. So we get a designated match day, which I believe will be in April, where they make a big song and dance about us and the work that we do. There's some player appearances at our projects and stuff throughout the season, as well as just some general fundraising stuff as well. So it's really, really important for us at the moment, especially with the economy at the moment. So it's a really good boost in the arm for us, and we're very grateful.
Yeah, amazing. What about, recently this week, fans will have seen the 4th shirt that was released in partnership with Fitzwilliam Museum for Black History Month. Tell us a little bit about that project and Romsey's involvement in it.
Yeah, so the Fitzwilliam Museum were running an exhibition called Rise Up, which was looking into Alauda Equiano, who was a Nigerian abolitionist, but he actually had roots in Cambridge. So part of that exhibition involved some workshops some educational workshops, and Fitz approached Romsey Mill and asked if we would like to have some young people get involved with the workshops. And then once the workshops had sort of begun, the idea of having a shirt designated and designed by the young people sort of came to fruition as well. So it's a really exciting project. It's been amazing, like absolutely incredible to see, first of all, two massive organisations in the Cambridge scene, like Cambridge United and the Fitzwilliam, to get behind this. And secondly, to have us come along on the journey as well has been something that is really, really special and really unique. And it's definitely made a massive impact on the young people that were involved already. So really, really fair play to everyone. It's been a fantastic project.
It's a hell of a shirt too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit naughty, isn't it? Yeah, it's good.
It's a proper bit.
When I first saw it, I was a bit like, and I've had a few comments about it, and people are like, but it's got nothing to do with Cambridge United. And I said, no, but that's the point. Like, it's not. It's not a Cambridge United shirt. Yeah. If you look at the painting that they were sort of giving us inspiration, it was a portrait of Equiano and his family, and the colours. It's mainly the colours and the sort of patterns and shapes from that have been pulled out. And been used to inspire the shirt's design and colours. So yeah, it's naughty. Yeah.
Well, what a way to kick off being a charity partner. I think anyone who hasn't watched it yet, like, go seek out also the videos that the club put out this week, which were brilliant. Josh, people listening here might be thinking, how can they help out at Romsey Mill? Whether donations or volunteering, or is there anything in particular that you're looking for this year that people could help out with, and where they could go to do that?
Yeah, so I guess first and foremost, so the shirts that the young people helped to design are going to be worn by the first team players this Saturday during the Bromley game. Those shirts are then going to be signed and auctioned off. So there are very limited opportunities to get your hands on this shirt. And one of the only ways is by joining an auction, basically, and all the funds will come to us. So that's probably the first one. Other than that, I think follow us on social media, get involved with us in any way that you can, whether that's financial, whether that's volunteering with us, whether that's sharing our stuff on social media, whatever. Every little helps without sounding too much like Tesco. It really does. And it's such a good way to give back to your community as well. We're in so many different areas around Cambridge. And so keep an eye out for any fundraising that we have coming up. We're at normal events like Cambridge Half Marathon and things like that. So yeah, just get us on social media, keep up to date with what we're doing, and join in as much as you can.
Well, maybe there's a way we can help out here at the podcast, because I don't know if you've been listening recently with the now infamous bet that Tom Walker and Matt Caswell have made with each other.
The thing with Walker.
What a time to say the thing with Walker.
The thing with Walker is that he's so tight you could peel a Zat Zubra in his pocket. So I'm not sure that involving him in any fundraising would be the best way of doing it.
Brilliant.
Hopefully there would be a way. If there is, I'm sure we can think of one. That's maybe food for thought. Maybe near the designated match day, for example, we might have a giveaway or something potentially.
Brilliant. Well, Josh, thanks so much for joining the pod, mate. It's been great to hear about it, and keep up the amazing work.
Yeah, cheers, boys. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'll see you all Saturday. Oh, I should just add as well, we've got a stall on Saturday in the main stand car park. So come down, say hello, and you'll get a glimpse of the shirt as well before kick-off.
Brilliant. Well, we'll see you down there. Swindle, you can say goodbye now as well.
Nice one. Yeah, good work, Josh. Love it all. Thanks.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, boys. Thank you.